Hi friends, in the short video we're going to see something, the use of something called random.range. So whenever you need some kind of a random behavior, it's generally built using this random function. So random.range is simply a function which will give you a value between the lower limit and the upper limit that you pass in the function. Now suppose you want your timer not to be fixed at 2, but you want the timer to keep varying between 2 and 4. Sometimes it is 2, sometimes 2.1, sometimes 3.8, etc. So what we will do is we will create another variable which is going to be the time, which is going to hold our upper limit. Suppose like the upper limit of the bucket. Okay, so let's say my time upper limit. Okay, this value will hold the upper limit for the time. Now instead of 2 we will now use this, but when you create the variable, it always is the value that it holds is always 0. So we'll populate this variable, initialize. It is also called initialize the variable, that is give it its very first value. Random range is deprecated, that is it is no longer in use. So we will give it a value between 2 is the lower limit. You see float minimum and maximum, but it will never return 4 because 4 is excluded. So if you actually want 4, then maybe you'll have to give a value which is slightly more than 4. Alright, so this will give a value between 2 and 4, but it will never return the value as 4. 4 is the upper limit. Okay, so if it is more than upper limit, yeah, now so every time if you want to keep, this is going to only set the this value once, right? So if you run this code, the start method will get called once and this upper limit will set only once. That means suppose it is 3.5, every 3.5 seconds this timer gets reset. But that's not what you want. You want the value to keep changing every time. Alright, so if that is what you want, then you will call the same method inside the if condition. The moment it reaches the upper limit, set a new upper limit. Alright, so let's reduce it a little bit. So what we can do is 1 to 3 or 1 to 2.5. so it will vary between, or let's take it as 0.5 to 1.5, which is even quicker. I'm missing the F out here, right? So this whole code we will just duplicate it here. So for you guys, copy paste is allowed only for the code which you yourself have written. Alright, now what you're seeing a couple of warnings. Don't worry about the warnings. These are all warnings out here. This tab shows the error, this tab shows the warnings. Warnings, errors, logs. Let's just see the log for now. So we should see debug.log printed between 0.5 and 1.5 seconds. This is actually let's say time expired. Now I also want to know how much time was expired. Okay, so what I will do is I will actually print out the time, how many seconds expired. We can see that every time. So we will say timer plus. Okay, or you can also do something like toString to make. So what it will do is it will convert the float type to a string type. A string type is English text, which is if you want to type in English text in Unity, it has to be surrounded with double quotes. Okay, so this will convert this float type, which is a number, to a text type, which is English text. So we will see how many seconds expired. We'll keep a space between the number of seconds and the English text. Every time we'll see a different value now. Okay, this is 0.67 seconds, 1.3 seconds, 1.09 seconds, 1.4 seconds, 0.9, 1.5. So it will keep fluctuating between that. Between 0.5 and what is the other value that will be on 1.5. So remember that this whole thing returns a single value. Wherever you have a single value, in fact I can even put this here. Wherever there is a float number, this whole expression can be just simply plugged into that. Even my timer can be equal to this I can do, so it's not necessary, this simply, it's not necessary that what I have done here is the exact sequence. It depends on your requirement. The requirement here needs that I do it like this, but this random dot range is simply a number. When it actually executes, this becomes simply a number, which you see here. This random dot range, this entire thing will be collapsed into a single number. So you can assign it to a float, you can compare it against a float, you can do whatever you want. Consider this as a number that will be filled in at the last moment. Alright, thanks for watching.